If your house creaks like it's breathing, you're in for a sleepless night. Every groan of the floorboards, every whisper of the wind through the cracks can send shivers down your spine. And Sarah's night had just begun. The forest around her new home seemed to come alive with the setting sun, shadows stretching and twisting into eerie shapes. One cold October night, Sarah moved into her new home, a small, old house nestled deep in the woods. The isolation was both a blessing and a curse, offering peace but also an unsettling quiet. The previous owner had left in such a hurry. Dusty furniture and faded family photos were all that remained. It was as if they had vanished overnight, leaving behind a ghostly imprint of their lives. Odd, she thought, but a bargain's a bargain. She'd always been drawn to the charm of old houses, their history, and the stories they held within their walls. That first night, as Sarah lay in bed, she heard a faint whisper. It was so soft that she almost dismissed it as the wind, but there was something distinctly human about it. Soft, almost like the wind, but carrying words. Help me. The plea was faint but unmistakable, sending a chill down her spine. Her heart raced. She strained to hear it again. Silence. The room was still, the only sound her own breathing. Must be my imagination, she thought, and drifted back to sleep. But the unease lingered, making her sleep restless and filled with strange dreams. The next morning, deep scratches marred the hallway floor, too deep for normal wear. They looked fresh, as if something had clawed at the wood in desperation. Strange, but she shrugged it off. Maybe it was an animal, she reasoned, though she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. That evening, the whispers returned, louder this time. "Help me, please!" The voice was more insistent, filled with a sense of urgency that made her skin crawl. Her skin prickled. The voice was coming from the basement. The thought of going down there filled her with dread, but she couldn't ignore the plea. Flashlight in hand, she crept down the creaking stairs. The air turned thick. The basement reeked of dampness. Each step echoed in the confined space, amplifying her fear. In the far corner, a small rusted door she hadn't seen before. It was hidden behind a stack of old boxes, almost as if someone had tried to conceal it. Opening it, a chill slammed into her. The air inside was frigid, as if it had been sealed off for years. Inside, a tiny, bricked-up room, a single, dusty doll on the floor. The sight of it sent a wave of nausea through her. It was eerily out of place, its glassy eyes staring blankly. Faded red letters on the wall. "Don't let him out." The warning was ominous, the letters smeared as if written in a hurry. The whispers turned frantic, begging, pleading. They seemed to come from all around her, echoing off the walls. She turned to run, but the basement door slammed shut. The sound was deafening, reverberating through the small space. Something cold brushed her ankle. It felt like a hand, icy and insistent. Frozen with fear, she felt a presence behind her, breath cold on her neck. The sensation was paralyzing, her mind racing with terror. As she slowly turned, the flashlight flickered out, plunging her into darkness. And then, silence. The oppressive quiet was suffocating, her own heartbeat the only sound. She fumbled for the flashlight, her hands shaking. The darkness was absolute, disorienting her. She could feel the walls closing in, the air growing colder. A faint glow from a small window caught her eye. It was her only point of reference in the pitch-black basement. She moved towards it, hoping for an escape. Her hands brushed against an old lantern. With trembling fingers, she lit it, the small flame casting long shadows on the walls. The shadows danced eerily, making the basement seem even more sinister. She could feel eyes on her, watching her every move. In a corner, she found an old journal, its pages yellowed with age. She opened it, the brittle paper crackling. The entries were filled with desperate pleas and warnings. The last entry read, "He is trapped, but he grows stronger. Do not let him out." The words sent a shiver down her spine. Who was he, and why was he trapped? Suddenly she heard footsteps behind her, slow, deliberate. She turned, the lantern's light revealing nothing but empty space. She backed against the wall, her breath coming in short gasps. The footsteps grew louder, closer. She could feel the presence closing in on her. In her panic, she stumbled upon another hidden door. She yanked it open, the hinges creaking. Beyond it, a narrow passageway stretched into darkness. She crawled through the passageway, the walls pressing in on her. The whispers followed, growing more frantic, more desperate. Finally, she emerged into another room. It was larger, with old furniture covered in dust. The air was slightly warmer, less oppressive. On a table, she found an old photograph. It showed a family, their faces solemn. In the background, the house looked new, untouched by time. She recognized the house immediately. It was her house, but from a time long past. The realization hit her like a punch to the gut. A child's laughter echoed through the room, light and innocent. It was a stark contrast to the whispers, but no less unsettling. She found a child's drawing on the floor. It depicted a family, but the father was crossed out, replaced by a dark figure. The dark figure had red eyes and a sinister smile. It sent a wave of horror through her. What had happened to this family? The whispers returned, more insistent than ever. "Help me! Don't let him out!" The voices overlapped, creating a cacophony of fear. She found another door, this one leading back to the basement. She hesitated, the fear almost paralyzing her, but she knew she had to go on. She descended the stairs again, the whispers guiding her. The basement seemed different, more menacing. The air was thick with tension. In the center of the room, she found an old chest. It was locked, but the key was nearby, as if someone had left it for her. She opened the chest, revealing an old book. The cover was worn, the pages filled with strange symbols and incantations. The book seemed to pulse with energy, the symbols glowing faintly. She read the incantations, the words foreign but powerful. The presence grew stronger, more oppressive. She could feel it closing in on her, the air growing colder with each passing second. She chanted the incantations, her voice steady despite the fear. The air crackled with energy, the presence recoiling. A warmth spread through the room, pushing back the cold. The whispers faded, replaced by a sense of calm. She closed the book, the energy dissipating. The presence was gone, the basement returning to its eerie silence. She left the basement, the weight lifting from her shoulders. The house was still, the oppressive atmosphere gone. As she looked around the house, she felt a sense of peace. The whispers were gone, the presence banished. She had faced her fear and won. Sarah smiled, the first genuine smile since she had moved in. The house was hers now, truly hers. The nightmare was over and a new chapter had begun.